best, but bracing for the worst. Majority Whip South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn joins us from Columbia, South Carolina. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about your expectations
thank you so much for having me.
now. Well, we've heard, all kinds of estimates and a lot of analysis saying that as many as 60 or more seats could be lost, that the Republicans may make a huge pickup. What are you seeing where you sit in the leadership?
Well, from where I sit, I see it totally different, because I've been going around the country, going district by district, and I'm getting a different report. Now, I know that the headlines that come from inside the Beltway are saying something different. But I'm just finished a little tour out in California. I was very satisfied with that. I'm on my way now to Minnesota, Illinois, and Indiana. From what I'm hearing, our candidates are very upbeat and are doing very well. And so it's going to be a close election, no question about that. And we are going to see tradition play itself out here. We know what happens in off-year elections to the party that occupies the White House. So there are some disappointments, but I'm very encouraged by what I see overall. And I do believe that we will maintain both the House and the Senate.
Both the House and the Senate. I mean, you've got some projections saying that some of the veteran House members might also be endangered. Peter DeFazio and John Spratt, even John Dingell, which would be incredible to think of the dean of the House and others who have spent 40, 50 years in the House being at risk. You don't see it that way?
Well, sure. All of us are at risk. I have an opponent. John Spratt has an opponent. I've been spending the morning with John Spratt over in my hometown of Sumter, where we share that county. I'm going to be with him later this evening. But those people are upbeat. And I'm going to tell you something else that I'm very encouraged by. They just dropped about $1.2 million against John Spratt. These unnamed sources, people parachuting in here, people who've never been to South Carolina, could care less about these communities that John Spratt represents. These people are getting turned off by this. I was very encouraged by what I heard this morning, and I think John Spratt is going to survive all of this, and a lot of our other candidates out there will do so also. People don't like for total strangers with agendas they don't know about trying to take over their campaigns.
What do you think about the president doing an interview for the New York Times Sunday magazine? Peter Baker interviewed the president, and he seemed to be conceding defeat. It seems like an unusual strategy to try to fire up enthusiasm among the base. One of his quotations was, well, we probably spent, he didn't say the well, that was me. He said, quote, we probably spent much more time trying to get the policy right than trying to get the politics right. There's probably a perverse pride in my administration, and I take responsibility for this. This was blowing from the top that we were going to do the right thing, even if short-term it was unpopular. He seems to be conceding errors along the way, and it doesn't seem like the tone you would want from the top cheerleader as you're going around in the last 3 weeks of this campaign.
Well, I don't know whether it is all that bad to admit a truism. The fact of the matter is, a lot of us wanted to spend more time on politics than policy. But I think the president was absolutely right to concentrate on saving this country from disaster. I don't believe anybody will disagree with the fact that what he inherited was something that demanded his immediate attention, and he gave it that. And so I think he's to be commended. And I'm seeing headlines this morning that saying that the bank bailout, the automobile bailout, all these things worked well, worked even better than people expected. And so I want to say to the voters out there, let's not compare President Obama to the Almighty or the Democrats to the Almighty. Please compare us to the alternatives. And when you start comparing us to the alternatives, then I think we come out very well. We are not perfect. We cannot, democracy was not designed to be perfect. It's designed to get everybody participating. It's designed to try to find common ground, and you cannot find common ground by insisting that all of it be done your way. And so I'm very pleased that the president did what he did, concentrating on the policy, because everything I see indicate that the country is moving in the right direction. Maybe not as fast as I would like to see it, or some other voters would like to see it. But I'll tell you what, we are moving in the direction that we ought to be moving.
When you are out there on the campaign trail, what is the response from, in particular, black voters? Because according to David Bosidas, whom you know is a real expert at looking at these voting patterns, in as many as 20 districts, the black vote, the turnout, may be decisive.
That's exactly right. And I really believe that that is what's going to be the secret weapon here. That is the unknown to a lot of people. But I tell you, if anybody that's showing up these samples that say that the opposition, the Republicans, are getting 30 and 35% of the African American vote, I don't believe that for a single moment. And when they tell me that they're only 50% of what they were going to be 2 years ago, I don't believe that either. I am not finding that where I'm going. I'm finding that the African American vote is in fact engaged. They are taking the admonition that came from Deval Patrick some time ago. They went out 2 years ago to change the guard in Washington. They're going to go out this time to guard those changes. I'm very pleased with that, and I think that is what's going to occur.
All right. Majority Whip James Clyburn from South Carolina, thank you very much.